Finished already?
No, yeah, so I can just use it as test.
Yeah, but my colleague say if I can restart the computer, will be much better. Would you like to have a try?
Hi from the Azores.
It'll be better in terms of sound,
Yeah.
louder.
Yes, because he say because the
Can they hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, great. Hi, this is Nancy. We've been told that Carlos Santos is arriving now at Archipelago. He was delayed. So I have to run to the other session, which is waiting for me to get back. But he should be here momentarily. And Sonia will call me if there's anything that happens in addition that I have to run back here to participate.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Okay, bom dia, Carlos. François
Bom
Bedard
dia.
here.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm sorry I was a little bit late.
Well, no, it's okay because it starts at 10, so you're still on time.
Okay, thank you. So we have two speakers before me, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
The
so,
program, yes, I think that let me see here. Um, on the 10th. Yeah, I think so. I don't have the detailed program here, but I think that I'm the last one and you're just before me.
sorry?
I mean that I'm for the welcome remark. I'm the last one, and you're just before me. So
Oh,
I
just
think
before
that
you, and the last one just before you.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Can you hear us from
Good
Guangzhou?
afternoon. Good afternoon.
Very
How are
well.
you?
Nice to
Perfect. It's great to see the two of you.
Okay,
Wow.
so
nice to see you.
is it works on my phone, the volume, but we don't have it on this.
Yes. Let me try again. Can you try again, please? Yeah, try again, please.
Professor Bedard, can you hear us?
Very well. Yes,
Okay.
a 5 on 5.
Okay, I'm sorry. We're still testing. Can you hear us now?
Yes, very well.
Good. Thank you. Okay, so do you remember how we did this for tomorrow?
Yeah, like show to this one.
Okay, so we got that.
Yeah,
Good.
and then with the
we-
up and down. Yes, and put this one also here in case, for in
Perfect.
case. Yes,
Thank
and see you
you.
tomorrow
Thank
afternoon.
you.
Okay, sir.
Did
See you then. See you
Thank
then.
you. I'm sorry, Professor Bedard, could we do one more sound check, please?
Yes, okay. So I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, I've got you. Thank you, sir. What time is it there in Canada?
Well, actually, I'm in Azor, and here
In
it's
Azor.
9:45.
Okay. So you had breakfast or you haven't had lunch yet?
Well, we have breakfast, of course, because it's 9:45, but lunch will be after our session.
Perfect.
晚上好，女士们、先生们。Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Is my voice clear? 我的声音清
Yes,
楚吗？
Jack, we can hear you good.
你是，对对。
Hi, Jack. François Bédard here.
Good evening, Professor Bedard. Can you hear us, our voice clearly?
Yes, loud and
Yes,
clear.
yeah, thank you. And Mr. Farr,
Yes, perfect,
could you,
Jack.
can you hear my voice clearly? 张教授，张和清教授，听到我们的声音吗？好的，好的，很好。李一平教授。And hello from Guangzhou to University of Azores, and also from our Portuguese friend. We are about to start our meeting in 10 minutes. Sorry for keep you waiting, and we appreciate your patience. 还有贵州黔南民族师范学院的老师同学们，听到我们的声音吗？我们广州的会场，贵州黔南师院的 Mr. Professor Carlos Santos.
Yes, I'm here. How are you?
Great. Yeah, thank you very much. Can you see us clearly from Guangzhou side?
Yeah, I can see.
Perfect. And we just have another 10 minutes to start the concurrent section. We appreciate your patience. Thank you very much for your support.
Okay, thank you.
It has grown. Guangzhou University continues to flourish today. From 1953 to 2000, Guangzhou Normal University, South China Institute of Construction, Guangzhou University, Guangzhou Junior Teachers College, and the Guangzhou Institute of Education were 5 great educational institutions. In July of 2000, these 5 institutions merged into today's Guangzhou University. Over the past 21 years, Guangzhou University has accomplished many fruitful achievements. Since its merger and establishment, Guangzhou University was relocated to the university town and has conferred numerous PhD degrees and become one of the top 100 universities in China. Sharing a common prosperity and a close natural bond with the city of Guangzhou, Guangzhou University has made a historic leap in the quality of higher education. The city is my home where I will pursue my dream. I was fortunate to be enrolled in Guangzhou University in 2000 when I started to pursue my dream. Guangzhou University has a relatively long history of providing a quality education. The university adheres to the socialist principle in education and serves the developmental needs of the country and Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area. Guangzhou University strives to become a world-class university. We are both confident and capable of developing Guangzhou University into an innovative world-class university. Guangzhou University has educated a large number of students. Students who learned knowledge over the past 21 years have made great contributions to different industries and to the society. Guangzhou University regards fostering the moral integrity of its students as a fundamental task and continues to deepen the reform of education and teaching. The university focuses on undergraduate education, improves postgraduate education, and reinforces the teaching of ideology. The university aims to educate patriotic and innovative graduates with promising prospects and the characteristics of possessing integrity, ability, a broad vision, a love for sports, and an understanding of art. Thanks to leading innovative technology, Guangzhou University keeps pace with technological transformation and embraces a bright future. When I came to the new campus located in the Sino-Singapore Guangzhou Knowledge City in the Huangpu district, I was impressed by the buildings of the university and the wisdom of its faculty. Academic talents are a primary resource. For the past 21 years, Guangzhou University adheres to the principle of advancement by attracting the best of faculty. This has greatly accelerated the university's disciplinary development and capacity for innovation. Guangzhou University has 3 missions which include providing a well-rounded education, achieving innovation in science and technology,
Recording in progress.
and serving society.
Recording
the
stopped.
university will be on the front lines to apply theory to practice in serving the country's economic development. When I came to the Earthquake Engineering Research and Test Center, I remembered Liu Zhaoqing, who stood still in the Lushan earthquake. This center, together with the Hong Kong, Zhuhai, Macau Bridge, the Canton Tower, and the cultural relics of the Forbidden City, witness a common prosperity and a close natural bond between the university and the city. They also witness the commitment of the university in serving society and people. Guangzhou University serves the development needs of Guangzhou City, Guangdong Province, and the entire nation. The university assists with local development and applies theory into practice, advancing the cause of national rejuvenation through developing disciplines. These disciplines include civil engineering, cyberspace security, artificial intelligence, intelligent manufacturing, electronic and communication engineering, resources and environment, material engineering, economic and social management, Lingnan culture, and art and teacher education. The university is proud of its growing contributions in the industrial and social development of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area. The Earthquake Engineering Research and Test Center is the only center specializing in the research of earthquake isolation in China. Central, provincial, and city governments attach great importance to this center and have invested almost 600 million yuan to establish this new center and laboratory. This laboratory is only used for earthquake isolation research and enables Guangzhou University's
Recording in
technology
progress.
to lead the field. Ancient books share our history, and the library assures our fine culture is passed from generation to generation. Students who graduated many years ago are still impressed today with what they learned. Guangzhou University, located in South China, possesses a distinct cultural heritage and a spirit of integrity and innovation. The university further carries forward excellent traditional Chinese culture, which fosters faculty and student cultural confidence. It also enriches socialist culture with the Xi Jinping thoughts on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era that promotes cultural inheritance and innovation. Guangzhou University has established collaboration in research and degree programs.
就这里是吧？
按照这个。
OK。
Collaboration offers faculty and students opportunities to learn more about and foreign culture while broadening their horizon. Guangzhou University adheres to an open education, blessed by the great international influence of the city of Guangzhou, which is both a metropolitan and comprehensive city. The university serves the development needs of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area, and the Belt and Road Initiative. The university expands the pattern of international education, deepens cooperation with Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan universities, and upholds the idea of exchanges. The university further works to broaden the horizons of faculty and students, build a global community for a shared future, and better communicate to the world China's history and culture through the development of the Alliance of Guangzhou International Sister Cities and its 3 Confucius Institutes. Guangzhou University will target global sci-tech frontiers, serve main economic fields, and strive to fulfill the significant needs of
晚上好，女士们、先生们。2022
Good
创意旅
evening, ladies and gentlemen. The 2022 Creative Tourism, Regenerative Development and Destination Resilience International Conference is going to begin. Now I would like to invite the first moderator of today's conference to join us. She is Professor Tang Xuan, Director of International Affairs Office of Guangzhou University.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Creative Tourism, Regenerative Development and the Destination Resilience International Conference and the Concurrent section, which is on site in China, themed China's exploration and the practice of tourism revitalization after the epidemic. We welcome you from Guangzhou, China. It's my honor to introduce the moderator of our first section for opening remarks, Professor Tang Xuan, Director of International Affairs Office of Guangzhou University. Welcome.
尊敬的各位领导、各位嘉宾、女士们
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, good evening. I'm now going to announce that the 2022 Creative Tourism, Regenerative Development and Destination Resilience International Conference is now beginning. We are now in Guangzhou, Guangdong Province of China. I'm here in the campus of Guangzhou University. I would like to extend my warmest welcome to you, both online and offline. My name is Tang Xuan. I am the moderator for the first session. There are several sessions in today's conference, beginning with the opening ceremony, followed by the keynote speeches, and we will also have a roundtable discussion. I would like to invite you, all the distinguished guests who are going to join us in the opening ceremony. They are Vice President of Guangzhou University, Fu Jiyang. We also have Madam Dong Tian from Guangdong Culture and Tourism Bureau. We also have our delegates from Portugal, that is Professor Carlos Santos from University of Arizona. We also invite another delegate from Canada, that is Professor Francois Berdard, Director General of the World Center of Excellence for Destination. So I would like to suggest that we give them all a big round of applause. Thank you for joining us in the opening ceremonies. First of all, I would like to give the floor to the Vice President of Guangzhou University to address the audience. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, Good evening. In this beautiful season of autumn, we hold the Creative Tourism, Generative Development and Destination Resilience International Conference, which is a parallel session to discuss China's exploration and practice of tourism revitalization in the post-pandemic era on the island of San Miguel Azores of Portugal. On behalf of Guangzhou University and the Secretariat of Guangzhou International Sister City University Alliance, I would like to extend my sincere greetings to all the colleagues in Europe and also who are joining us off-site. Thank you very much for attending today's meeting. I would also like to express my heartfelt thanks to the organizing committee and the staff for their hard work. We believe that the university and the city should coexist and grow together. Therefore, Guangzhou University is a comprehensive university named after the city of Guangzhou. It has a history of more than 90 years. It is one of the top regional universities and one of the top 100 universities in China. According to Microsoft US News and the Higher Education Index, Guangzhou University is ranked as one of the top 500 universities in the world. We have 6 disciplines who have entered the top 100% of the world ESI, of which engineering and computer science have entered or close to 2%. We also believe that Guangzhou University adheres to open education. We always rely on the international influence of Guangzhou and the core engine of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area. We focus on the construction of the Greater Bay Area and the Belt and Road Initiative. So far, we have established relationships with more than 200 universities and research institutes in 33 countries and regions. We have carried out with nearly 60 joint training projects for the students. And we also have Confucius Institutes in the United States, Italy, Iran, and other countries. We always believe that we need to adhere to the purpose of the sister city universities work together and rely on the global network of friendly exchange. In fact, in December 2018, Guangzhou University launched the Guangzhou International Sister City University Alliance. We hope to uphold the principle of sharing, collaboration, and equality, and sharing our resources with other partners. Since the establishment, the number of our members has been expanding. By the end of 2021, the Alliance has 18 member universities in 16 sister cities from 15 countries in 5 continents, including Asia, Africa, Europe, America, and Oceania. And the Alliance is committed to build an international platform. According to President Xi Jinping, opening up is an important driving force for the progress of human civilization, and opening up is the only way for the prosperity and development of the world. In fact, the current changes that have not happened in the world in a century are accelerating the evolution, and the world economy has not got enough impetus for its recovery. Therefore, open and development should be the effective and the only way for all mankind to overcome some challenges. In fact, since the 20th National Congress of the CPC, we always adhere to the high-quality development and to promote tourism for the people. We always give play to the role of tourism in driving the economy and the industrial chain. We also vigorously develop mass tourism, smart tourism, green tourism, and civilized tourism. The theme of this forum is the exploration and the practice of China's tourism revitalization in the post-pandemic era. We are so glad that we have invited so many scholars and speakers who know the tourism industry very well to join us. As the old Chinese saying goes, if the road ahead is long, the road will arrive. If the future is promising, we will continue. In fact, China's practical experience is worth sharing, and I work together with my colleagues to organize and prepare today's meeting for the industry and for the colleagues to share their insights. I hope that we can make good use of this platform, online and offline, to further discuss this topic, and we can offer our own contribution and solutions for the economic recovery and resilient development of the world tourism industry. Last but not the least, I wish this conference a complete success. Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Professor
President Fu.
Now
I would like to give the floor to the next speaker. That is Madam
Industrial
Dong Tian
Development
to address
Division
the
of
audience.
Department of Culture and Tourism of Guangdong Province to address the conference. Dear faculty, guests, and friends, on behalf of the Guangdong Provincial Department of Culture and Tourism, I'm pleased to participate in this forum themed China's exploration and practice of tourism revitalization after the pandemic. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, the industry has suffered serious impact, and we have taken series of initiative to cope with the pandemic. In 2020, Guangdong Provincial Government and my department jointly issued measures on actively responding to the impact of the new coronavirus pandemic to promote the stable and healthy development of the cultural tourism industry. We have allocated 300 million yuan of provincial fiscal fund, especially for supporting the cultural tourism in businesses. We also have provided more than 1,200 cultural tourism businesses with discount government loans and subsidies, benefiting over 5,000 cultural tourism enterprises. This year, we also launched direct subsidy fund for over 80 million yuan, mainly for the travel agencies, and helping them to work out of the difficulties. We also introduced measures to promote consumption measures and recovery for businesses in the service sector. We also have introduced measures to help the businesses that were struck the most. In these past 3 years, under particularly difficult circumstances, we have continuously organized Guangdong International Tourism Industry Expo, Guangdong Tourism Cultural Festival, Guangzhou Cultural Fair, meetings for financing Guangdong cultural tourism investment and other activities to stabilize market expectations, boost industry confidence, and promote industry exchanges. We have also carried out initiatives themed Guangdong people traveling in Guangdong. Please come to Guangdong for the Chinese New Year, and 100 cities and 100 districts. We're also promoting tourism industry through marketing and discount initiatives, such as creating the national and provincial cultural and tourism nightlife gathering zones and issuing cultural tourism consumption vouchers. However, these initiatives, although proved effective in broadening the sales and channels of cultural tourism and stimulating the public's consumption enthusiasm, we also have seen there are still a lot of obstacles and difficulties. In this regard, it's necessary to discuss new ideas, innovations, innovative models, and new achievements in the innovation of tourism. The pandemic has not only changed our life, but also changed our way of traveling. According to statistics, now the peripheral tours and micro vacations from close distances and high frequency have become the mainstream way of traveling. And we have explored the Anaya model of community-based scenic spots and Chaozhou model of living in an Asian city, and the Yongqingfang model of new vitality of no neighborhood. For example, we have the cultural tourism complex of Zhenjia Plaza, which is a shopping mall. This shopping mall has launched new project every year, allowing for oceanarian, rainforest museum, natural museum, planetarium, and mini theaters to be housed in traditional shopping malls, promoting the shopping mall, at the same time promoting the tourism industry. And Foshan Creative Park was also launching monthly changes activities, closely following AR, VR, XR, and other technologies. And these technologies has enabled us to apply those new scenes in the cultural tourism and have been appealing to the young generation. And the meta-universe and immersion tourism are also appealing by the public. In the recent years, Guangzhou University has seized the opportunity of the national strategy of building a world-class university, and it has made great strides in innovation-driven openness and talent cultivation. The GISU advocated by the university has also promoted the sharing of educational resources with the spirit of mutual benefit and cooperation among the universities in the GISU. In this forum, which is hosted by the University of Coimbra in Portugal, a member of the GISU, is sub-organized by Guangzhou University. We have invited scholars from different universities and as well as the senior leaders from the cultural and tourism industry. So I know that in the next few hours, you will have in-depth discussions in the post-pandemic era. I wish this forum a huge success. Thank you very much.
旅游业发展的多举措施以及资金政策方面的支持，同时也非常感谢对广州大学旅游学科发展的支持。那么接下来我们有请亚速群岛大学卡洛斯·桑托斯教授代表大会组委会致辞。
First, I want to thank you for the valuable support of the Guangzhou Sister City Universities Alliance to the international conference entitled Creative Tourism, Regenerative Development and Destination Resilience, held on the island of São Miguel, Azores, Portugal, allowing the conference to become more international and more visible, as well as more interactive with a broader audience. This conference is part of the scientific research project Creatur Azores, transforming the Azores into a creative tourism destination funded by the European Union and the regional government of the Azores, and of which I'm the coordinator and member of the team of researchers. The Creator Azores project, which includes 5 pilot projects, is promoted by the Sustainable Tourism Observatory of the Azores in collaboration with the University of the Azores and with the consultancy of the Center for Social Studies at the University of Coimbra. This is a pioneering project in Portugal, launching innovative research on the theme of culturally based creative tourism in islands and allowing for the development of applied research on cultural creative tourism in the Azores, replicable in other island realities all over the world. Currently, China is a major world tourism power, endowed with many important tangible and intangible cultural assets, and exhibiting a long history of friendly ties with Portugal and the Azores, where in late 1877, 2 Chinese coming from Macau, Lau A Pan and Lau A Teng, introduced the tea culture in the Azores. We propose to reinforce these historical ties through academic and scientific cooperation in the field of cultural creative tourism projects. Concluding, I hope that in the future, we can develop common research projects on this topic, both in China and in the Azores, under a collaborative approach involving the Guangzhou Sister Cities Universities Alliance and Azores, the Sustainable Tourism Observatory, which is a member of the UNWTO Sustainable Tourism Observatories Network. Thank you.
感谢卡洛斯·桑托斯教授的致辞，对我们本次国际会议给予了大力的支持。那最后，我们有请蒙特利尔魁北克大学弗朗索瓦·贝达尔教授代表世界优秀旅游目的地组织致辞。
Okay, I'm sorry. I will start. I forgot to turn on my microphone. So my name is François Bédard. Thank you very much, dear colleague, dear friend, dear colleague in Guangzhou University, dear friend in Azores. So University of Quebec in Montreal is proud to be a GISU founding member. In 2020, UQAM submitted the Tourism and Smart Cities Research Program in response to the call for GISU Secretariat to its members. The program was approved by GISU Council. A joint project within the scope of this research program include, in addition to the present international conference in Azores, one project has been conducted and one is in progress. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Professor Carlos Santos for the great hospitality and also for the quality of this great conference in Azores. So the project that has been conducted is creative tourism, fostering tourism and cultural synergies for localized strategic approaches to revitalization. So this project was under the supervision of Nancy Duxbury, a senior researcher at the Center for Social Studies at the University of Coimbra. Two results. A report was published in fall 2021, and a webinar was held in the spring 2022. The ongoing project is innovative business strategies in response to COVID-19 impact on tourism. So this project is under the supervision of Dr. Karina Waldel from Western Sydney University, Australia. The research aims at investigating the opportunities and challenges encountered by international hospitality and tourism stakeholders operating during COVID-19 and documenting innovative business strategies and operational plan implemented in response to the pandemic. Countries participating in this project, Australia, Canada, China, Portugal, South Africa, Ukraine, and Vietnam. Now, I would like to say a few words about the cooperation between the University of Quebec in Montreal, the World Center of Excellence for Destination, and Guangzhou University. In 2007, CED received a mandate from the United Nations World Tourism Organization to develop a system to guide destinations worldwide toward excellence by supporting them in their efforts to foster sustainable development and increase their abilities to generate economic, social, and cultural benefits. Since 2016, UQAM, CED, and Guangzhou University has been operating under that umbrella. In 2016, CED was invited by the Guangzhou Wuxi District authorities to implement its system of measures for excellence in destination in the Beijing Road Cultural Tourism Zone, the city's historic district. Guangzhou University School of Tourism participated actively in that project. The SMED implementation was successful, and the Beijing Road Cultural Tourism Zone has since then been part of the said global network of Destination of Excellence. In 2019, Guangzhou University, UQAM, and CED signed a partnership agreement to create the International Institute for the Study of Tourism and Culture Synergies, Innovation, and Development. I was deeply honored to be appointed for a 4-year term as foreign dean of the Institute. In conclusion, I would like to say a few words about the future area for cooperation within the GISU community. China is the president of the COP15 of the convention organized by the Secretariat of the Convention of Biological Diversity, a specialized United Nations agency based in Montreal, Canada. China's presidency for COP15 through China's Ministry of Ecology and Environment extends until 2024. The first part of COP15 was held virtually in the fall 2021 in Kunming, China. The second part will be held in Montreal, Canada this December. The theme of COP15 is ecological civilization, differs from sustainable development with its emphasis on natural, social, and cultural factors, and its goal of defining new relationship between people and nature, allowing harmonious cohabitation with the eco-environmental bound of planet Earth. COP15 aims at providing a coherent conceptual framework for adjustment to development that meet 21st century challenges. Once the framework is established, numerous avenues for applied research will open. For example, in the wake of COP15, GISU members will potentially explore destination regeneration through sustainable development, the role of tourism, of destination management in scaling nature positive tourism. This type of applied research will provide practical guidelines and example for tourism businesses and destination seeking to invest in and scale nature-based solution, understanding the role that all actors, businesses, visitors, residents, destination management organization, government play in generating destination to protect and restore biodiversity. Thank you very much for your attention.
感谢贝达尔教授的精彩致辞，也给我们介绍了国际文旅最新的学术和实践发展动态。那么我们也希望跟我们的中国。
Thank you so much, Professor Berdard. Thank you for sharing your ideas with us about the relationship between Guangzhou University and the University of Montreal de Quebec, Canada. So thank you very much. This is the end of the opening ceremony. We are going to kick off the second part, which is the keynote presentation. I would like to invite my colleague, Professor Xue Xiaolong, to be the moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the opening ceremony, and we would like you to take a group photo with us. Could you please turn on your camera? We will take a group photo.
Your attendance for the first part, which is the opening remarks of today's concurrent sessions. We please ask to invite our speakers, major speakers as well guests, to open your camera. Then we allowing us to take a group photo. Thank you very much.
截图吗？用截图。
Take photo, please. 1, 2. Okay. Thank you.
女士们、先生们，下面是本次
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin the second part, which is the keynote presentation. I would like to give the floor to Professor Xue Xiaolong, Dean of the Management School of Guangzhou University.
Welcome back. And now we are having a second section, which is the keynote speeches, which is moderated by Professor Xue Xiaolong, Dean of the School of Management of Guangzhou University. Welcome, Professor Xue.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen,
Good evening. We've spent several months on the preparation for today's event, and we also gained the support from the leadership of Guangzhou University. We now are so happy to announce the beginning of these events. We also invite the leaders from the government's departments related to cultural tourism to join us. We also invite our delegates from Europe to join us because we would like to share with you the Chinese wisdom and the Chinese solution. We all understand that during COVID-19 and in the post-pandemic era, the industry of tourism has been facing a lot of challenge. So how can we provide our own solution and how can we continue offering talents to the industry deserve our attention? So I suggest that we will talk about all these issues in the second part of today's event. I'm going to invite several keynote presenters to share with us their ideas. Totally, we have invited 6 keynote presenters to share with us their ideas. So we are looking forward to their contribution. First of all, I would like to give the floor to the first keynote presenter. That is Dr. Fanny Wong, President of Macau Institute of Tourism Studies. She's going to talk about tourism development resilience. Thank you very much. Good evening to you all. Can you hear me? Yes, we can. Thank you. So I would like to share my PPT slides with you. So can you all see my slide? Thank you. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to join today's meeting. The topic I'm going to present is tourism destination to resilience. And I would like to give you the definition of resilience, which means the recovery or the capacity of recovery. And this is the outline for my presentation. I would like to talk about the relationship between resilience and sustainability. And then I would like to talk about the capacity of resilience. And in the third part, I would like to share with you the case studies in Singapore and Macau. And I would like to conclude in the fourth part. Let me begin with the first part. I'm sure you all know this slide very well. It is the Sustainable Development Goals. And there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And they are all about our future. A lot of companies, a lot of governments and NGOs have taken all these Sustainable Development Goals as an important part for them to make their own policy. And many universities also follow suit because they would like to take the Sustainable Development Goals as part of their research. And we do not believe that those kind of research or policy making are enough. Instead, we need to make more preparation, especially to build up our resiliency. Otherwise, all our efforts will be wasted after we have any emergency or pandemic. Take the COVID-19 for an example. We understand that the entire Asia-Pacific region has suffered a lot in the tourism. We know that by the end of 2020, the GDP of tourism coverage in the total GDP decreased by over 50%. And there are a lot of issues related to the labor and also the plastic garbage and pollution which have been poured into the ocean. And we also understand that people do not get enough salary, and that can also influence their livelihood. So it's more difficult for us to protect our environment and a lot of natural reservoirs and national parks. So we propose that we need to construct resiliency. You can see this is the definition of TDR. It is offered by the PETA Pacific Asia Tourism Advisor. It is said that TDR is both a process and an outcome that enables tourism destinations to withstand adversity and bounce forward from crises and disasters. There are several parts of TDR. The first one is risk assessment. And after we have very clear assessments, we can identify and develop the inventory of all the prevention risks in any destination. Then, in the second part, we have risk management, which means that we need to enhance our preparation for risks as well as crisis. I will tell you more in details about risk management. And the third part is adaptive capacity, which is the ability to adapt to changes that arises from crisis as well as inevitable changes. And there are actually two parts of adaptive capacity. Just like I said, whenever we have any crisis or any pandemic, we need to respond in time. So that's what we mean by the first kind of adaptive capacity. Moreover, we also need to have the capacity to get sustainable development, because after we get the risk assessment and management, we not only need to adapt to the risk, we also need to get resilience, which is a prerequisite of sustainability. And this kind of resilience should be based on a very solid foundation of risk management and assessment. So that is the framework of TDR. In fact, according to the government's reports about COVID-19 and tourism upgrade, it also focused on the two key words, which is to reinforce the resilience and to enhance our competitiveness. And in this report, there are several key parts that I would like to share with you. The first one is that all the tourism destinations should enhance their awareness to guard against risks. Like I said, there are lots of risks, including economically, environmentally, and health, socially, and etc. So after we get all these risk assessments ready, we need to find a way to manage the risks. For example, we need to engage many parties to make the policy and the plan. Not only those working in the tourism industry, but those who are working in health, civilian, environmental protection, community, and etc. Moreover, we need to provide training to all these people who are going to get engaged. The third part of the report is to enhance the infrastructure and to protect the environment. First of all, we need to optimize the infrastructure of tourism, because some of those resources or infrastructures are prone to natural disasters. So what we need to do is to promote the investment from the SME or the small and medium-sized enterprises. Moreover, we also need to promote green economy, which means we need to cut our emission and enhance the efficiency of using energy and resources. And the government should also take part in this regard, because the government should make some policy to guide the companies to get involved. The third part of this report is about expanding the customer market and to diversify the tourist product. I think it's quite easy to understand this part, because we all always believe that tourists have their own need and we need to cater to their needs. Like in Macau, we also encourage local tourists to take a look at their home. And we will also try to have similar tourist products for the domestic market. Moreover, we can also display the cultural heritage, our arts elements, and our innovation to improve the satisfaction of the tourists. The fourth part of this report is to optimize the HR capital or human resources capital, which means we need to educate more people to get a job in the tourism industry. And we also need to provide them with training so that they can learn more, like foreign languages or other skills, so that they can cope with more opportunities and challenges. Now, I would like to share with you some examples in Macau. Like I said, The core of resiliency is to enhance the adaptive capacity of the governments and the leadership who work in the tourism industry. And we can also share with you a role model, which is Singapore, because Singapore is a very excellent country to provide good tourist markets and resources. We all know that Singapore is very small. It is an open economy, but it could be quite fragile. It could be influenced by any international conflicts or crisis. However, Singapore is always ready to get adapted. For example, in August this year, the Prime Minister of Singapore mentioned that they would put resiliency as a top national strategy, and they will continue to enhance the production, to safeguard food security, and to optimize the telecommunication, transportation, and other infrastructure. So they have done a very good job. So how come they can offer such good food security? In fact, 90% of the food in Singapore is exported, which means that they need to rely on other countries to give them food. However, Singapore can diversify the destination of their imports because they can also have a 30 by 30 target. They can modernize their agricultural industry. They can also diversify the resources of inventory of food and drugs. Moreover, Singapore also invested a lot on their own farms to enhance their own production. And Singapore also have very good learning from COVID-19 because they have upgraded the infrastructure of Changi Airport. We know that the airport is going to have the 5 terminals, which can have an output of over 50 million passengers. So if there any pandemic occurring at the airport, they could minimize the risk and separate the tourists and the passengers according to different terminals. So that is about their airport in Singapore. Another infrastructure project in Singapore is the harbor. In fact, there has been a lot of artificial intelligence and automation technology in Singapore. They have been using a lot of GPS and other modern technology in their harbors. They also use autonomous driving and AR to have seamless coordination and cooperation. So Singapore can achieve very good shipping and import and exports. What about environmental protection? We believe that Singapore is also doing a very good job in protecting its own environments. In fact, the National Bureau of International Environmental Protection in Singapore has been using supercomputing technology to monitor all kinds of hazards in their neighborhood. So they can understand if there's anything wrong with their air quality, or if there's any hazard in forest fires or cross-border logging. So you can see that Singapore has high awareness of adapting to the changes. So let me share with you another example, which is my home, Macau. It's a case study in Macau. We all understand that Macau is using a different approach to deal with the pandemic. I cannot say what we are doing in Macau is good because we are still a very small island. We have a very small population. We don't have many natural resources. So Macau is not the same like Singapore. We cannot simply follow what Singapore is doing. However, the administration in Macau is also trying its best to get adapted. This is a photo of the tourists in front of the landmarks in Macau before COVID-19. You can see a lot of tourists flock to the landmark. But after we And we also get some statistics to share with you. That is the number of visitors to Macau. In 2019, we achieved 679,600 in our population, and our tourists amounted to 39.4 million. So the ratio between the local residents and the visitors is 1 versus 58. So you can see that in Macau, the economy is highly dependent on tourism, especially on the casino. And most of the tourists came from Chinese mainland, and some of them can also come from foreign countries. However, after COVID, not many visitors arrived in Macau. And for the risk in the community, we believe that there is still a lot of protection being undermined for the international heritage in Macau. And in terms of environmental protection, I have to say that due to overdevelopment of tourism, the space for the local residents is being shrinked, which means the visitors and the local residents fight for the resources. So you can see that in the year 2017, we got a guidance of tourist developments published by Macau administration. And according to this guideline, Macau was at the prime time of its tourist developments. So most of this tourism guidance policy aim to solve the problems of overdevelopment. For example, it is said that Macau can not only focus on the number of the tourists, instead, it should focus on the high quality tourists, especially who took a long flight to arrive in Macau and may spend longer time in Macau. Moreover, the guidance in Macau also monitor the capacity of tourism in the local community, which means we need to monitor how happy the local tourists and the residents were towards the infrastructure. We also believe that we need to offer more training and management for the cultural heritage. We also need to use modern technology to enhance the experience of the tourists. For example, they can use smart devices to enjoy their tours. Now, this is a photo after COVID-19. It's quite similar to the destinations in Hong Kong. You cannot see many people there at all. And it is the result of our over dependency on tourism. And do you still remember all these numbers? We updated you with the number in 2021. We only had 7.7 million visitors, but before COVID, we have 39.4 million visitors. What does it mean? It means that we have a significant decrease of visitors to Macau. So a lot of people may have lost their job. We have a high rate of unemployment, and it can produce a lot of social risks. Many people got depression, many people get family issues, and that is great hazard. Moreover, our competitors is rising, especially Singapore. More and more visitors would like to go to the casinos in Singapore instead of in Macau. So what can we do? We need to try to upgrade our guidance to the tourism industry. First of all, we need to develop the domestic tourists, because even though we have a small population, we still want to encourage the local residents to become the tourists. Moreover, we diversify our economy, such as the Chinese herbal medicine, science and technology, and financial industry. Moreover, Macau needs to get more engagements into the Greater Bay Area of Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau. And we also need to understand we need to have some kind of limitation on the license for the new casinos, because we don't want too many casinos in our tourist destinations. Instead, we would like to attract more visitors who are not going to the casino. So I would like to conclude my presentation after I share the two case studies in Singapore and Macau with you. Conclusion number one, we believe that before a destination is fully developed, the policymaker need to prepare for the resilience and the sustainability of the destination. Second of all, it takes a lot of time for us to cater to the needs to all the shareholders. We need to have a lot of efforts to be paid on evaluating the risk and managing the risks. We also believe that tourist industry should have its own display of influence on other industries, not only for the airline, for the hotels, for the casinos. We also need other industries to get involved, like culture and art. We want all the sectors to get involved to help us to make better policy in tourism. Moreover, we would like to get the attention from the senior leadership of the government. We still remember that the Prime Minister in Singapore signed a paper to put resiliency of tourism into its own state strategy. Last but not the least, we believe that there are two kinds of resilience, which is adaptive capacity and sustainability. Of course, we always need to get ready. Otherwise, when we get the crisis, we will get a lot of influence and challenge. So that is all for my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Wang, for your insight. I think your speech conveyed a message to us. During the pandemic era, tourism businesses should build an effective mechanism of resilience and resilience of the tourist destinations. And we also need to build a risk assessment and management system. You have offered a lot of useful insights for us. And your suggestion to build resilience in the tourist destinations is especially useful. And thank you very much also to share the case studies of Singapore and Macau. And I would like to thank you again for attending this conference, from taking time from your busy schedule to attend this conference, and look forward to a closer cooperation between our universities. So thank you very much, Professor Wang. Now, I'd like to invite the second keynote speaker, Professor He Qing Zhang, Dean of School of Management and the Dean of Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area Cultural Tourism Development Research Institute of Guangzhou University. He's going to share with us his insight on the Guangdong practice of creative transformation and innovative development of cultural heritage, the case of Nanyue Asian Post Road. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. My dear fellow faculty, my dear fellow researchers, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share with you a project we are working on, that is the innovative transformation and development of Nanyue Asian Road. I would like to share what we've been doing in the next 15 minutes. First of all, I would like to share with you the background of our research. The first is that the Asian Post Road is a very important way for the revitalization of the Chinese culture. So we are also agreeing on the same principle. That is, first, we need to adhere to the position of the Chinese culture is the inherent requirement of casting the new brilliance of the Chinese culture. And second, we need to strengthen our confidence in the Chinese culture. And we also need to push forward the creative transformation and development of the Chinese culture. The Asian Post Road of the Guangdong province is actually a very good way to promote the cultural confidence of the Guangdong province. Since 2016, under the great support of the Guangdong provincial government, we have been promoting the protection, restoration, activization, and utilization of the Asian Post Road of Guangdong. What is the Asian Post Road? It's actually a road for the transportation of the letters, of the goods, and the people before 1913. It includes the land road and the waterways. And this road actually has a heritage that dates back to several dynasties. It actually dates back to 2,000 years. So since 2016, the provincial government of Guangdong has been attaching great importance to the restoration of the post road of Guangdong. And you've been seeing in this PowerPoint slide, in this work report of the government, every year, this post road is mentioned. The restoration is very important. You can see that this road covers a length of 15,000 kilometers. And I would like to share with you what we have been doing in the last few years. And we've been working with the Research Institute in Guangdong and the Department of Cultural Tourism of Guangdong. And we also have been participating in the cultural conferences of the Guangdong culture. And we have been sharing our insights on what the latest developments of our project are in a lot of the seminars. So here I'd like to share with you the main models of the revitalization of this post road. There are actually 10 ways to revitalize this road. The first is innovation driven. The second is we need to use all these scenic spots. The third is inclusive development. And the third is to develop the program by its Asian culture. And we also need to use the games, the sports games, as well as using these programs for the poverty reduction in the peripheral areas. So in our research, we have been paying particular attention to the Hexiao Asian Post Road. It is actually a very important project or area for the provincial government. Now you can see from the map that we have a lot of projects. We have been developing the areas around the post road. I think it's serving as a very good example for other projects in Guangdong. So our project is actually using the ternary dialectical framework of space production and the theory of local construction to analyze the local relationship between the activation and utilization of Asian Post Road and the spatial production and local construction. And we have found several functions, including the spatial distribution, the planning of the industry development, and the snatching of the areas for the revitalization of this post road. And we have found that the creative transformation and innovation development of the Asian Post Road has achieved quite good results and has demonstrated a very good example for the promoting of the transformation of the economic structure, industrial upgrading, and cultural identity of the local areas. But we are still asking the following questions. The innovative transformation and development is actually a dynamic process. How do we utilize the cultural features of the Asian Post Road to the local political governance structure? And how do we further give full play of its cultural heritage? These are the questions we are still asking. So, a brief introduction to what we have been doing. Actually, there are 3 conclusions we have made. First, while we are digging into the culture of the Asian Post Road, I think it's very important for us to understand the civilization along the Post Road for the past 1,000 years, so that we can tell a good story of this road. The second is we need to analyze the dynamic change of the cultural genes of the Asian Post Road. And third, under the guidance of the construction of the Chinese characteristics modernization, we need to explore a revitalization model of Guangdong style and also of Lingnan style. In the future, we are going to work on the following 2 areas. We're going to dig deeper into the following 2 areas. The first is the database construction. We have been doing some job in it, and we are still constructing the database. We're trying to build a cultural and ecological gene information mapping platform for the Asian Post Road in South Guangdong, including gene mining, gene information extraction, mapping platform integration, and other related technologies. We will utilize the latest technologies and use the technologies developed in the digital era for the construction of this database. Second, we will use the spatial simulation of the creative transformation and innovative development of the digital technology in the cultural heritage of Guangdong. Since the 18th CCP plenary session, the country has valued the innovative transformation of the country's Asian cultural relics. We aimed at integrating the local governance structure and the development of the cultural tourism industry with all our cultural heritage that lasts for thousands of years. And this Asian Road is one of the very important examples of the Guangdong culture or the Canton culture. So the innovative transformation and development in the new era is very important. And we need to utilize the digital technology to ensure there is innovation not only in the technology, but also help to improve its local governance. And in the future studies, we hope that you can give us suggestions and advice on this project and help us better improve our project and help us to have a better result in the creative transformation of the Asian Post Road in the new era. Thank you very much. So this is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Zhang. Thank you for sharing all your experience about this important topic, which is the Nanyue Asian Road. We all believe that it's a very good case study. It can showcase how the Chinese culture and the Ningnan culture can be broadcast. Thank you very much. And we also believe that your research will give us very good solution for the future development of this destination. We believe that in the future, when we have the digital technology and more smart devices ready, the Nanyue Asian Road will be more and more popular. Thank you very much once again, Professor Zhang. Now I would like to invite the third keynote speaker, which is Professor Li Yiping, Professor of School of Management in Guangzhou University. The topic is the rise of tourism in China, social and cultural changes. Thank you very much. I would like to speak in English.
你共享一下这个屏幕，对。好，可以。
有了吗？现在有了。可以了，
哎。
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, delegates in Europe, and good evening here, delegates in China. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be invited here to present the rise of tourism in China, social and cultural. A few months ago, when I was invited to deliver a speech at this conference, the first thing that came to mind was history. Because to me, history will tell us, and history will help us to set a vision of our future directions. So please, ladies and gentlemen, permit me from this point of departure to present a brief history of China's recent past. China was poor and isolated from the outside world. The supplies of commodity goods were so that the consumption of tourism and leisure services was out of the question. However, this all changed after the late Mao leader Deng Xiaoping initiated the economic reform and opening of China in 1978. In 1992, China held the country's first ever tourism promotion year. I remember the theme of that year's promotion was Visit China, Make Friends. And this indicated that China had opened up its arms to embrace the whole world. I was very lucky to be one of the participants in this epoch-making event in the rise of tourism in China. I worked as a young translator for the organizing committee of China Travel Fair 92 in Beijing. Well, after a 30-year isolation, China suddenly appeared on the world stage, a very different and unique country. China's distances to the outside world in that time, the geographical, cultural, and economic China to the outside world suddenly turned out to be some sort of charming mysteries that enticed international visitors to China, thereby boosting China's inbound tourism in the last decades of the 20th century. This picture is a record of my few research trips in China. It was taken 30 years ago at a little corner of Southwest China. I was having face-to-face interviews with these international visitors. I remember they told me that they were enchanted by China's mysteries, and they came to China to seek for an authentic and traditional China, a traditional society which they could hardly see and find anymore in their own countries. I also remember during the interview they told me that they had found in a place not very far from where we are having these interviews, they had seen some sort of internationally rated star hotels So they thought, and they told me, that international tourists would not be interested in modern hotels in China. And they said, international tourists would be interested only in authentic traditional China. They even predicted that international tourists would stop coming to China if China ever becomes modern and too modern. Well, I was surprised, if not shocked, at their understanding of China as an authentic and traditional society. Because to achieve modernization has been our national dream, generation after generation. So afterwards, I was obsessed with this question. Will quickly changing China gradually turn into an unattractive tourist destination? With this question, I carried on my research and teaching from Canada to Hong Kong. And time moved on quickly. Then came the year 2008. This was the year that our capital city, Beijing, hosted the Summer Olympic Games. My research team did a study on the enhancement effects of the Olympic Games on Beijing as a tourist destination. We evaluated Beijing under this effect in terms of locale, in terms of location, and in terms of sense of place. In other words, we attempted to analyze Beijing's physical transformation under the effect of the Games. We also attempted to analyze Beijing's mental transformation with regards to tourist image change about the city as a destination. Now I can tell you, our research results turned out to be positive mostly, and our research results have been published in Annals of Research and Journal of Event Management and other internationally refereed publication venues. And eventually we truly believe, and we concluded, that the Summer Games of Beijing, year 2008, is a symbolic momentum for the rise of China as a strong, powerful, and developing economy, as well as the rise of tourism in China. Well, after the Games, China is developing at an even faster scale. And China is changing every day. So please, ladies and gentlemen, let me share with you a few pictures about the little corner of the Bund of Shanghai. The Bund of Shanghai is internationally famous. This picture shows the Bund before China's reform. This is the new Bund, the super modern and postmodern landscape of China. And this is Shanghai's old friendship store. It used to stand at the intersection of Beijing Road East and the waterfront of the Bund. Well, people of my generation and age have very strong emotional attachment to this type of friendship stores all over China during a certain period of time. However, this Shanghai old friendship store is no longer there. It was demolished and disappeared. And in the same place, it is replaced by this super luxury modern hotel, the Peninsula Shanghai. This is the terrace bar and restaurant of the Peninsula Shanghai, overlooking the Bund, the Huangpu River, and the eastern side super modern China. And this is a more recent picture of the terrace bar of the Peninsula Shanghai. You may find the landscape has already changed. Well, with China's changing faces and fast shifting landscapes, a new question comes to me. How would people feel when their home places change? What would be their attitudes, emotions, and feelings towards the reality that their home places have changed, disappeared, and never would come back? Well, with that question, carried on my research and teaching from Hong Kong to China. Time still move on as usual, and then came the year 2019. We all know what happened afterwards, and we have all seen the consequences of this vicious and hateful COVID virus. So I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I must make one point here though. Luckily, approaching to the end of last year, the year 2021, after more than 2 years, the world travel industry finally began to see a ray of hope. More and more countries are opening their borders to welcome tourists back. However, tourism industry recovers very slow and hard inside China because of the zero COVID policy. I took this picture 1 month ago during our National Day holiday. It is a 7-day so-called Golden Week. And during this period of time, the tourism business and other retail businesses are supposed to make big profits. And this beach is supposed to be occupied by crowds and crowds. Look at the beach now. It is quiet, empty, and nearly dead. When I look at it, my heart is full of sorrow and sadness. What can I say? I can say nothing but a sigh of sorrow and sadness. Well, whatever. Time will still move on, and this pandemic will be over sooner or later. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe you all have your expectations and hopes for tourism after the pandemic. I also believe that your hopes and expectations must be positive. What is mine? My hopes and expectations for tourism after the pandemic. Please let me share with you mine to conclude my speech. Please, the government, the policymakers, the tourism practitioners, the scientists, and especially us, tourism academia, let's work together, let's do something. Let's hold a humanistic perspective and rely on the notion of place as center of meaning for what's happening in life. To find a way in order to achieve a balance between the zero COVID policy and people's needs for a good life, their desire for travel, and their hunger for leisure service consumption. As long as we work with our heart, compassion, and with love for our people, we will be able to find a balance. Thank you. The end of my speech.
Okay, thank you for Professor Lee's presentation. 我想就是李教授呢，其实我觉得刚才从这个中国旅游业的发展，包括
Thank you, Professor Lee, for your insight. And you have shared your insight on how the development of the tourism has on our life and people's life. Thank you very much for your speech. Thank you very much, Professor Lee. Since 2002, Guangzhou University has been working with the University of Angers on tourism project. And this year marks its 20-year anniversary. So I would like to invite Dean of the School of Tourism and Hospitality of University of Angers, Professor Jean-Maurice, to give us a speech and share with us the development of this project. This will be a video.
Ni hao. Bonjour, je suis Jean-René Maurice, directeur de l'Estoire.
Hello.
Très heureux de m'adresser à l'Institut franco-chinois de tourisme de Canton.
非常高兴今天能够有机会来代表昂热大学的旅游文化和酒店学院在此发表演讲。我非常的高兴，因为我们在旅游的教学研究和学生的职业化的合作框架下呢，已经和广州大学合作了20多年了。那么昂热大学对广州大学的合作承诺是非常重视的。事实上呢，我们是从2001年开始合作的。那么当时的彭杜先生和彭女士是我们第一次合作的创始人。那么他们当时呢是非常的明确的，他们希望能够建造一个中法旅游学院来进行一些原创性和创新性的项目的合作。那么在与此同时呢，中国也希望可以发展中法旅游学院并且在当时在法国寻找那个合作伙伴。最后我们确定了，就是尼斯大学和昂热大学都成为了广州大学的合作伙伴。那么从那个时候开始呢，广州大学和昂热大学就共同合作创建了法中旅游学院。那么我第一次来到中国呢，是来到广州那么是2004年。那么我们已经合作了18年18年后的今天，我依然非常的高兴可以和我们昂热的合作关系协调人高飞一起承担起这个中法学院的主要的联络的工作。那么我们的合作呢在学生人数和教学方面都有了非常多的发展。那么最开始呢，我们的合作的相当的一部分呢其实是本科层面的合作。那么后来我们允许来自广东的学生来自广东大学的学生能够来昂热攻读硕士学位。那么这样的一种合作关系呢现在正在继续，我们对此也感到非常的自豪。我们迫不及待的看到广州大学的学生来到法国来进行发展，我们也迫不及待的想看到这种合作关系的扩大和持续。我们非常的希望有一天我们能够庆祝这种合作关系的40周年。那么我们昂热旅游文化和酒店管理学院呢，目前是集聚了
L'Histoire, la faculté de tourisme, de culture et d'hospitalité de l'Université d'Angers rassemble plus de 3000 étudiants, à peu près une centaine d'enseignants et d'enseignants-chercheurs, et plus de 400-450 professionnels qui viennent intervenir dans nos formations, aux côtés des étudiants, partager leur profession, partager leur passion dans les métiers du tourisme, de la culture et de l'hospitalité. 3 grands départements structurent justement l'Histoire, le département de tourisme qui prépare au métier du tourisme de manière générale par rapport au développement local, par rapport au développement des territoires, par rapport à la mise en place de sites touristiques. Le département hospitalité qui est lié notamment à l'hôtellerie, la restauration et les métiers de l'événementiel. Et le département de la culture qui prépare au métier du patrimoine, de la valorisation de la culture dans les territoires en lien avec le tourisme. L'Histoire, c'est 40 ans d'histoire. Je suis à titre personnel le 3e directeur de l'Histoire. Michel Bonneau, qui a été directeur de 1982 à 2006. Philippe Violier, de 2006 à 2021. Et pour ma part, j'ai le challenge, la mission en tout cas, de poursuivre l'histoire de l'Histoire à travers son développement, son rayonnement. L'Histoire, c'est aussi donc la formation pédagogique, formation des étudiants. C'est aussi la recherche. La recherche à travers un GIS, notamment, un groupe d'intérêt scientifique qui réunit plusieurs universités françaises en relation avec la recherche dans les métiers dans le domaine du tourisme. Et donc, on fédère aujourd'hui à peu près 175 enseignants-chercheurs dans le cadre du GIS tourisme. La formation aussi de cette recherche au tourisme passe par des doctorants, c'est 27 docteurs qui chaque année sont préparés et formés au doctorat dans le domaine du tourisme, notamment en lien avec la géographie, la sociologie et la gestion, notamment en tant que champ disciplinaire. L'Histoire, sa dynamique aujourd'hui est à l'échelle nationale. C'est le plus grand pôle de formation européen dans le domaine du tourisme, des métiers du tourisme et de la recherche en tourisme, et qui aujourd'hui est missionné par le ministère notamment de l'enseignement supérieur en France pour créer à l'échelle des universités françaises un vaste réseau des écoles universitaires du tourisme qui est donc sous la pilotage, la coordination de l'Histoire. C'est à ce titre en tout cas et de ces missions que porte l'Histoire en France et en Europe que nous sommes très heureux de pouvoir accompagner et travailler aux côtés de l'Université de Canton pour développer ce rayonnement dans le domaine de la recherche et de la formation en tourisme. L'ESTEA continuera d'être aux côtés de l'Université de Canton pour poursuivre cette collaboration. À ce titre, je vous souhaite et je nous souhaite un joyeux anniversaire.
祝中华旅游学院生日快乐，祝今后我们工作顺利。
谢谢，多谢，再见。
刚才这个 Morris 院长啊，其实我看了一下，刚才其实给我们讲了一下这个双方合作的这个过程啊，包括开始的时间，那么也讲
Thank you
了。
very much. Thank you for your wonderful speech. We understand that in your presentation, we can learn more about the cooperation between our two schools of tourism. I'm so happy that the students of both schools can learn more from our cooperation, and there will be more future collaboration opportunities for us. And I'm also believe that the two schools of our universities have different curriculum and different cultural background. However, we believe that our cooperation project is one of the best in the entire sector. So I would like you to continue to pay attention to our school, the Sino French School of Tourism. Thank you very much, Professor Morris. Now I would like to give the floor to the next speaker. We have two more presentations. The fifth one is Professor Xiao Youxin. He's going to talk about high quality development of tourism and innovative cultivation of talents. Thank you very much, Professor Xue, for your introduction. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, could you please share your PPT slides with us? Okay, can you see my slide now? Can you see my PPT slides? Yes, no problem. Okay. All right, thank you again. So again, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to attend today's meeting and share with you my ideas about cultivating talents. The topic of my presentation is high-quality development of tourism and innovative cultivation of talents. There are 4 parts in my presentation. First, I would like to talk about the sustainable development of tourism. And then I would like to talk about the essence of high-quality development of tourism. The third part is the assessment of the quality of tourism in Guangzhou. And the last part is the conclusion. We all know the concepts of sustainable development of tourism very well because it is proposed by UNWTO. It is said it needs to cater to the needs of the current generation of tourists as well as for the future generations. And there are several connotations of this definition. For example, we should optimize the resources of the tourism. We also need to respect the local authority of the community. Thirdly, we also need to put it into parts of the economic development. According to the guidance of tourism of UNWTO by the end of 2030, we have a lot of targets to meet. And after pandemic or COVID-19, we have heard more and more discussion on the topic of sustainable development of tourism. For example, not too long ago, in September this year, we had the 10 principles of the sustainable development of the destination in the World Economic Forum. We also hear a lot of proposals, like we need to be accountable to the tourists as well as for their actions towards the biological diversity and the environmental protection in the destination. We also need to boost the domestic consumption, production, and to optimize the soft basic infrastructure. We also need to encourage more investors to get ahead in the facilities. And we believe that we still have some shortcomings in understanding and applying the theories of sustainable development of the tourism. There are four parts of this kind of shortcomings. For example, we cannot use the real indicators to reflect how the local people feel about the tourists. We do not have a very clear indicators for other kinds of sectors development. So there are still a lot of shortcomings. And now I would like to introduce you our own indicator of high quality development of tourism. In fact, since the 18th Congress of CPC, most of the conflicts in China has been shifted to the imbalance of development among different groups of people. So it is a must for us to meet the need for people to get a better life, not only in material sense, but also in the spiritual sense. We also need to help them to enjoy higher quality of environment and livelihood. Since the 19th Congress of CPC in the year 2017, we have a new expression or new definition for the term high development of quality. What does it really mean? It means that we need to center on the people when we seek for development. We always put people on the top of our agenda. We always want to help people to have a good life, to help them to have personal development, and to maintain sustainable development in macroeconomy. So we always need to put quality in front of quantity. We also need to continue reforming and opening up. And there are more details for the principle of high development or high quality development. What do we mean by that? There are 5 areas. The first one is innovation. Second one, coordination. Third one, green. Number 4, opening up. Last but not the least, share benefits. For the first element, innovation, it is the key for our future development. Coordination, which is the second indicator, means we need to solve the problems of imbalance. For green, it means we need to have green development and pay attention to economy and environment. Opening up means we need to have national prosperity and to solve our own problems. For the last one, shared economy, it means we need to share more resources with people. So now you can see there are a lot of shifting in the concepts. In fact, there are 5 shifts. Firstly, we shift from getting more volume to getting higher quality. Second one, we shift from expanding in scale to upgrading in structure. Thirdly, we shift by driven by elements to driven by innovation. Fourthly, we shift from imbalance of allocation to inclusiveness. Fourthly, we shift from growth on high emission to green development. So those are the 5 shifts in our understanding of development in the whole sense. What about tourism? There are also some essence of high quality development in tourism. So I propose several elements. Firstly, we need to put people in the center so that we can meet the need of people towards tourists and tourism. Second of all, we need to embody the development of so-called high or new developments. Thirdly, we need to emphasize on quality and efficiency. Fifthly, we also need to emphasize on sustainable and stable growth of industry of tourism. Fifthly, we need to have a multi-layer development of tourism. Last but not the least, we need to have high-quality, sustainable development. So those are the essence of high-quality development. In fact, many scholars have done research in this area, and they conclude in this map that China has been shifting from the labor-intensive development to high-quality development of tourism, because we are already working a lot on opening up, on innovation, coordination, structural reform, efficiency, and stability. We believe that all these elements can play an important role on the contribution of high-quality development of tourism. Moreover, many scholars in China apply these concepts to work on their assessment for the quality of tourism industry. For example, two scholars have collected the data from the year 2008 to 2018. They collected data on the livelihood, economy, ecology, innovation, supply, and high quality level. And they concluded that China is enhancing its level of high quality developments in tourism. And now in the third part is my own research. It's about the assessment of the high quality development of tourism in Guangzhou City. First of all, we set up our own framework of assessment. Now you can see we set up 9 indicators, including 5 ideas and cultural appeal. We always believe that culture is the key to tourism. And we also focus on the quality of tourism. And the fourth indicator is the efficiency of tourism. And the last one is the stability of development. So now you can see we have 5 indicators in the framework. And then we have 3 levels of assessments. And I would like to share with you some of our data. In level 1, we call it innovation of the tourist environment. And the second level of indicator, it is the revenue and the investment in tourism. And the third level, it is the output of innovation of tourism. You can see the growth of tourist agencies in Guangzhou. I collected data from 2011 to 2020. You can see before the pandemic, there was a huge growth of the number of tourist agencies in Guangzhou. However, after we got the outbreak of the COVID, it declined. And I also collected the number of the facilities in the tourist destinations in Guangzhou. And they are the 4-star hotels and the 5A destination in Guangzhou. Moreover, I also collected the data of the tangible and intangible cultural heritages in Guangzhou. So you can see that we have more and more cultural heritages in Guangzhou being protected. Here are more statistics to share with you. They are about the efficiency of the hotels. So now you see we collected data from 2011 to 2019. There is a rapid growth of the revenue of the hotels. Then in 2020, we got COVID. It's a big drop. And this is the number of the tourists between 2011 to 2020 in Guangzhou. You can see we have total number of the tourists, inbound and outbound tourists in two other colors. And then here are green ecology. I have collected data about the areas of parks, greenlands, and the non-contamination rates of the garbage in Guangzhou. Next is about shared development. There are 4 indicators, including the disposable income of the permanent residents, the consumption of permanent residents per capita, and the number of vehicles owned by 1 million people on average, as well as the outbound tourists. And now I have come up with another scoring. I have analyzed the level of its quality in each year in the framework. And I also edited into different pie charts and different kind of table of numbers and data. So I can get the assessments of the high quality development of Guangzhou. You can see how it fluctuated through the passage of time. Sometimes it climbed up, others it climbed down. So between 2011 to 2019, the development of tourism keep growing up. However, due to COVID, it dropped significantly. That is in blue. In the line of green is the fluctuation of growth. And now I have the following conclusion from my research. First of all, the high quality development of the tourism in Guangzhou growed up steadily. And second of all, there are some differentiation among different indicators, such as the cultural appeal, happiness, and coordination. And we also believe that the 3 indicators, including development stability, innovation, quality of tourists, were still quite low. And after COVID, the growth rate is declining. So I'm afraid the quality of tourism in Guangzhou has been negatively influenced. So what kind of solution can we offer? So according to our research, we propose the following suggestion. First of all, we suggest that Guangzhou Tourist Agency should continue displaying its own advantages, including its cultural appeals, especially the protection of the local intangible cultural heritages, and making Guangzhou as one of the most influential cultural cities in the world. We also suggest we need to make the public services more accessible to the local residents as well as to the tourists. We also suggest that we need to bridge the gap among the rural area and the urban area. And we also would like to come up with some solution. For example, we need to focus more on following indicators, such as the stable development, dynamic and innovation, and the tourism qualities. Moreover, we also need to have a smaller package for the tourists in the COVID. We also want to make sure we can have more marketing in the tourism. We can offer more green ecology tour and dynamic tours. We also help the tourist agencies to have better efficiency. We can encourage them to offer more services. Next is about how we cope with COVID. We can make sure there is a recovery of the tourism with the subsidy of the government, and we can also enjoy some tax cuts in the agency of tourism. The fourth part of my presentation is about how to cultivate talent. So according to our experience of the School of Management of Tourism in Guangzhou University, we propose that we need to cultivate agents of tourists with comprehensive abilities, awareness of innovation, the expertise, and high level of foreign languages. So those are the 5 key parts of our talent cultivation plan. And we come up with our own curriculum, and we call it 6 in 1. What do we mean by 6 in 1? The 6 elements including innovation, which means we encourage students to launch their business after their graduation. We have mentorship for the students. We also hope that they can have the awareness of innovation. That is the first element. Second one is about quality or interdisciplinary awareness. We want our students to learn more. We also want our students to work with foreign counterparts. So we are now working with many universities in France, Canada, USA, and in the region of Macau in China. We always hope that we can help our students to be more internationalized. The next element is about apprenticeship. We want our students to get a chance to work as apprentices in different destinations and companies. We want them to practice what they learned in class into their real work. We also want them to do their own research because they have learned enough ideas from the textbook and they can do their own surveys to come up with their results. We also hope that we can provide trainings to the teachers, and we can also help to make the standards of some license and qualifications related to the tourist guides. So here comes my conclusion. So we believe that the theory of high quality developments can offer us very good approach to boost the development of tourism as well as to cultivate our students. And we also need to put the 5 ideas into the cultivation plan. That is all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Xiao, for sharing with us what innovative and quality development of tourism is. And thank you very much for sharing the case study of Guangzhou. And I think your presentation will provide very valuable insight for us for developing the talents in the tourism industry. And last, I would like to invite Professor Zheng Chunhui from the School of Management of Guangzhou University to share with us the imagination and space of the development of the tourism industry. Can you hear me okay? Yes, okay. My fellow faculty members, my dear students, thank you very much for inviting me to speak in this conference. And today I would like to share with you imagination through time and space. The last speakers have spoken about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on tourism industry. And we have seen that there has been a lot of the industries struck by the COVID-19 pandemic. So WTO has issued 23 recommendations for the global tourism recovery to advocate the speeding up of the digitalization of the process of tourism. And the tourism development plan of the 40th five-year plan also vigorously advocate the new tourism services such as immersive interactive experiences, virtual display, and intelligent guided tour. So I think these new technologies has helped us to usher the tourism into a new era. There are a lot of advantages of the digital technologies, and we can utilize digitalization to help us to disseminate, display, interpret the tourism industry as well as for public education of our cultural heritage. As Wang Xudong, director of the Summer Palace Museum, pointed out, digitalization is only the first step. So here I'd like to share with you some of the case studies, including the Summer Palace and the Dunhuang in in China. And first of all, I would like to share with you some of the past studies that have been taken on physical space and virtual space. We have seen the separation of the two spaces, that is, separation of the physical space and the cyberspace. The virtual space is a kind of cyberspace that is enabled by the digital technology. But with the development of the human society, we're seeing the combination or increasing combination of the virtual and physical space. In the past, the physical space and cyberspace are separated, but now we're seeing the immersion or the merging of the two spaces. Now we are seeing a hybrid space. So some of the scholars have been working on digital place, space of flow, geo-cyberspace, and hybrid space. Actually, we've been talking about the relationship between the tourists or the travelers to the real tourist destinations. But now we are seeing virtual tourists and the virtual tourist destinations and the relationship between the two. And we are now seeing the dual space is becoming a three-dimensional space. So the spaces are becoming different. So what kind of opportunities will this kind of development bring to the tourism industry? Since the late 1980s, virtual tourism has represented cultural heritage based on spatial visualization, providing the second life to destinations, scenic spots, cultural relics that has been destroyed or extinct, such as the destroyed Buddha statues in Afghanistan. And it will also, this kind of new technology will have the potential to support innovative interactive methods, such as interactive viewing of historical events, digital simulation, virtual immersion, intelligence robots, and digital narrative will integrate the virtual interaction with the history and culture into immersive experiences. Now you are seeing there are more immersive experience integrated in the tourism industry. In the past, we have seen that the cultural relics, national parks, galleries, and the theme parks are using these virtual technologies. But now, the scholars actually are paying attention to the combination of the digital technology and the tourism industry. They are studying the user's experience, the customer's acceptance of the virtual technology, and they are also studying the user's experience in virtual tourist attractions while they are in this experience. And they're also studying flow experience, remote telepresence, and immersive experience. And after they experience this kind of virtual tour, the scholars are also studying the impact of the virtual tourism experience on the tourist attitude and how a VR attachment and have changed their behavior. Now, I'd like to share with you some of the case studies. The first is World Natural Heritage. That is a very renowned world natural heritage in China, the Zhouzhaigou in Sichuan province. It's renowned for its alpine lakes, waterfalls, colorful forests, snow peak, and blue eyes in the Tibetan cultural customs. And it is also known as the best place of waterscape. So whenever we talk about Jiuzhaigou, actually people will think of its beautiful sceneries. However, my research on this tourist destination is on first, how does the interaction between user and virtual space affect people's emotion towards a virtual space? Second, how does the user's emotion to the virtual place develop into the emotional attachment to the real tourist destination? Will they really fall in love with the real Jiuzhaigou? And that's my second research question. And my third research question is, how does local attachment formed in virtual tourism or the virtual touring experience affect the willingness of the tourist to travel to the destination in the future? So I have been using the case study of a virtual traveling experience. So we have been seeing the main result of this study is, first, there are 3 dimensions of perceived experience value: escape, visual, aesthetic, entertainment, enjoyment. So in a virtual travel experience, we are seeing that there are virtual attachment combined with local attachment and willingness to travel to the tourist spot. And we also find that the total effect of local dependence formed in virtual tourism on the real tourist destination is positive. And this is a new finding. We will also conduct questionnaires and interviews to our subject. We found out that the conveyance of the message lies on or rely on how the tourists affection or emotion on the tourist destination. So just telling them how beautiful this place is not enough. We have to give them a kind of expectation, or we have to push a kind of expectation so that these tourists, after experiencing this virtual tour, will want to go to the real place. The second one is memory heritage. It's actually a world memory heritage, the Nanjing Massacre. We've seen more than 8 million visitors visiting the memorial hall of the victims of the Nanjing Massacre. So we are seeing that when the virtual tourism setting evoke unpleasant thoughts or feelings in the tourists, then they would not want to go to this destination because they have this bad memory. And they will have negative emotion towards this tourist destination. However, we are thinking maybe maybe this will be different this time towards the Nanjing massacre memory. So in our research, we pay attention to the combination and transformation of virtual space and imagination space and real space. We're thinking the virtual space need to create an anticipation or imagination in the tourist's heart. So he or she may be able to imagine if they are in the real place, what will happen. So in this virtual space, the tourists will have a very vivid imagination of the real Nanjing Massacre Museum. So our study actually study the connection between the two. That is how imagination inspired by virtual tourism will have an impact on the willingness of the tourists to travel to the destination in the future. First, we found that the vivid imagination inspired by the virtual tourist industry of tourist destination will promote the desire of the tourists to go to that destination. A second finding of our research is if virtual tourism stimulates negative emotions such as sadness, such as depression, then the vivid imagination may prevent them from the future travels. So this case study is actually very special, very different. In the past, when we talk about tourist destinations, we talked about people enjoying leisure and happiness. However, now we're seeing this is actually a very depressing tourist destination. And there are actually implications of this study. For example, if in other destinations, the virtual tour provided to the tourists will evoke or inspire the the tourists to be disappointed, or if there is disappointment in the virtual tour, then the tourists will not go in the future. And the third case study is a world cultural heritage, that is the Summer Palace of China. And in this case study, our research question is, in the construction of virtual and real tourism space, how we can dynamically represent the landscape element and cultural value of the heritage. The case study we have selected is actually very typical. It's actually an exhibition of the collections of the Summer Palace. However, this exhibition was not held in the Summer Palace. It's moved from the Imperial Palace to Shenzhen, showing an exhibition of the cultural relics without cultural relics. So you're seeing, particularly in this space, there are a lot of the technologies utilized, especially the VR and AR technologies. And there is a real space that is Shenzhen Museum. However, there are also virtual places. So we're seeing interplay and interaction between the virtual and the real space. In this digital space, we are seeing the interaction between the man and the machines. And this will be very different between the tourists and the real collection in a real space. According to the LDA analysis of the machine learning theme modeling, we found that there are a lot of the typical scenes in the Imperial Palace are shown in the virtual space. We have analyzed all these elements, and we found that in 1986, the Imperial Palace World Heritage Report have emphasized that our heritage, or the heritage of the Imperial Palace, includes landscape, architect, furniture, and art collections. And this kind of exhibition actually have a very good combination of the above mentioned elements. The fourth cultural heritage is the pottery intangible cultural heritage. It's a pottery workshop that was established in Hong Kong. Our goal is to study how the intangible cultural heritage can be generated and spread to generate meaningful cultural products and create meaningful cultural content and experience by utilizing the most advanced technologies. For the intangible cultural heritage, one very important way to develop this kind of cultural heritage is to develop the cultural products and the cultural content. In the past, when we think about developing this kind of industry, we're thinking of only inviting the tourists or the visitors to see what this cultural heritage is, but they are just the bystanders. And now we are seeing that the cultural products are introduced to help them to have an immersive experience.
文化遗产是世界遗产，包括物质遗产和非物质文化遗产的一个影响啊，做了一些分享，包括。
Thank you very much for sharing your idea with us. We have learned some good examples from your presentation. We also learned a new perspective, which means that we can have a better spread of ideas. So thank you very much. Now I would like to announce that this is the end of the second part, which is the keynote presentations. I would like to thank all the keynote presentations and their speakers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Xue, for your wonderful speech. Thank you very much. Now, I believe that we have finished the most significant parts of today's event. Thank you very much, all the keynote presentators. Thank you for your wonderful presentations. Now let's move on with the third part. Because we have heard a lot about the theories, about the research, and now I would like to come up with some practice. So the next part is a roundtable discussion. I would like to invite the next professor to be our moderator. That is Dr. Wang Rui from the School of Management of Guangzhou University. It is a great honor for us to invite 3 industry players to join us in the roundtable discussion. In fact, it's not easy to have so many delegates to join us. They have overcome a lot of difficulties and getting access to our meeting now.
Obviously, this is the most important part of our concurrent section, and we would like to give applause to our 6 major keynote speakers for their wonderful and insightful speeches. Obviously, the creative tourism is not just a talking series. Instead of talking the talk, we have to walking the walk. So now we are leading to the third section, which is the roundtable discussion. We please join me to welcome three renowned and established business people from business side as well as from research side, and also from practitioner side. This section will be led and chaired by Dr. Wang Rui, who is the director of the program of Sino-French joint education program under the reign of the School of Management. So, Dr. Wang, it's your time. Thank you.
好，谢谢啊，谢谢科处的介绍，也谢谢刚才。
Thank you very much for your introduction. And also, I would also like to thank the 6 keynote presentators. I learned a lot during the 6 presentations because I have heard a lot of experience of the research after COVID-19. Some of those research are very theoretical, and I still need to spend quite a while on understanding them. And now in the next part, the roundtable discussion will focus more on our practice. We will talk about the innovation and talent cultivation after the pandemic. Like Mr. Ke mentioned just now, we have invited several important industry players to join us in this presentation. So now I would like to introduce them one by one. Could you please turn on your camera? First of all, we have Ding Kerong, General Manager of the Westin Guangzhou, Chairman of South China Business Council, Guangzhou Sub-Council of Marriott International. So that is Mr. Ding. The second guest is Mr. Zhou Guozhi. Mr. Zhou is the General Manager of Guangdong Mobile Big Data Application Innovation Center. The third guest is Mr. Li Wen. He is the Chief Planning Officer of Lifeng Cultural Technology Corporation Limited. Thank you very much for joining us. Last but not the least, we also invite 2 teachers from the School of Management to join us. Actually, they are also the presenters just now, including Professor Zhu and Professor Jiang. In fact, they have also joined us on a lot of management of the destination and the project of the apprenticeship. So they learn a lot about the industry of tourism. I hope that the 5 of them can share their ideas in this round of discussion. First, I would like to invite the 3 industry players to give us presentation. First, I would like to ask Mr. Ding a question. Mr. Ding, you are working in a hotel. Hotels are very important in the hospitality industry or the tourism industry. Hotels also fully understand all the changes in tourism. Now we have COVID. Do we have any changes in the development of hotels? Okay, thank you for your question.
This is Eric Ding, the General Manager of the Westin Guangzhou. It is a great pleasure to participate in this forum and on behalf of Marriott. And thank you so much for the invitation from Guangzhou University. 大家晚上好，这里是我叫丁可荣，Eric 我是我的英文名字，我是万豪广州海航威斯汀。
My name is Eric. I am the General Manager of Westin Guangzhou. I would like to thank Guangzhou University for giving me such a good opportunity to share with you my personal observation of the development of hospitality industry in the post-pandemic era. I would like to share with you 3 important topics because I believe they are crucial. First one is luxury hotels. Second of all, I would like to talk about a new term which is called staycation. Third of all, I would like to share with you my ideas on technology and contactless service. let's see how technology can change the landscape of hotels. So here is the information about luxury hotels. In fact, after pandemic, many people would like to choose luxury hotels. There are several terms that I would like to share with you. The first one is about Gen Z or Generation Z. There are people who are born after the year of 1995, and I can share with you some of the data because around 90% of our hotel consumers were the Gen Z. So they are the loyal customers to luxury hotel brands. I believe is related to their general population in the whole world. Gen Z occupied 30% of our current population in the whole world. And for Marriott, we can see that 50% of our customers are Gen Z customers. So in terms of number, they are the majority. So what do we mean by luxury hotels? I believe that I also need to share with you the definition of luxury hotels. In fact, luxury hotels are the best of the best. For example, in Guangzhou, we have Bulgari, W Hotel, Ritz-Carlton, JW Marriott, St. Regis, and etc. So the customers who like to choose luxury hotels would like to have the best experience and the best services. They will also like to enjoy the food, the local culture in the luxury hotels. So, and they also like to share their experience living in a hotel in a lot of social media, such as WeChat Moment and the Red Book. And back to Marriott luxury brands, as I said, we have 8 luxury brands in over 400 hotels in the whole world, including W Hotel, JW Marriott, St. Regis, Bulgari, and etc. So again, 400 luxury hotels belong to our brand, Marriott luxury brand. Of course, they are different. Let's take Ritz-Carlton, for example. It's different from Bulgari because Bulgari is a jewelry designer's brand. So Bulgari pay more attention to the details. And for Ritz-Carlton, it focuses on the modern style. What about W Hotel? It's a fashion brand. There are lots of good music, special design. So many younger people would like to live in W Hotel. What about staycation? It is a new term in the whole industry of tourism. Due to COVID, we have gone through a lot of ups and downs in the past 3 years. There are lots of limitations for the Chinese tourists who cannot go abroad. So a lot of destinations overseas cannot be visited. So the Chinese customers would like to stay in the resorts and hotels nearby. They will choose some good brands with their family, with their children. And we provide this kind of kids activity and services to those family customers. So let me share with you one example. We can provide short destination, weekend, trendy hotels, family hotels, nature environments, and etc. Moreover, they will also like to enjoy the local food in the staycation. So personally speaking, in the next 2 to 3 years, we will have more and more customers in China to go staycation. The last point I would like to talk about is how hotel technology and the contactless service can change our industry. In fact, the leadership and the owner of many hotels would like to change the way they do business. They would like to cut the labor force. And the visitors or the customers also would like to use better technology For example, more and more customers will book their hotel rooms online or with their cell phone. So we also need to provide a mobile check-in and check-out and a mobile key. We can also make sure we can have a scan to order in the restaurant. I can share with you some successful experience. Like in our hotel, we have been using this kind of technology for quite some while. We call it mobile check-in and mobile check-out. So our clients do not need to come to the registration desk to check in or check out. They can just use their mobile phone to finish everything. They can also get the mobile key, which is on their mobile phone. So it's not a tangible key. It's just something that they can install in the cell phone. So that is very good experience for us to use. Moreover, we can also use the smart robots to deliver food and to help the clients to check in. So that is also check-in automation. So the customers do not need to visit any real people. They just need to talk to a robot, show their ID card, and voila, they can get their room. The visitors or the clients can get a lot of room services with the robots and with the automation technology. They can also use their voice, and then they can control the lighting, the curtain, turn on and turn off a lot of gadgets just by talking to some devices inside the hotel room. And also for room services, we offer the best food and the best wine, and the customers simply scan a code in the hotel room, and then they can get their food and wine ready. So that is all for my presentation. I would like to share with you the changes in our hotel industry. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ding, for your presentation.
for
We now
sharing
understand
your
luxury brands
experience
in a
and
better
the
way.
new services of the luxury hotels. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Zhou Guozhi, General Manager of Guangdong Mobile Big Data Application Innovation Center, to share with us what they've been doing. He is now sharing his screen. He's from the Chinese Mobile, which is a communication operator. It seems very different and very far away from the industry, but actually from his industry, we can provide, or we can see a lot of the data that can be applied to develop the cultural tourism. So today he will be sharing special application of big data in the development of cultural tourism statistics. Hello, Mr. Zhou. We're not able to hear you now. Now we can see your PowerPoint slides, but we're not able to hear. Now we are hearing something. Are you there? We're not able to hear Mr. Zhou. Hello, Mr. Zhou. We can now see you on the screen, and we can also see your PowerPoint slides on the screen. It seems that The internet connection is not that good on your side.
或者如果不行的话，您需不需要这个那边好像是静音状态？您是不是开启了？应该也没有静音状态啊。
Did you mute yourself?
那我们这里一直没有听到声音啊。
We're not able to hear anything from Mr. Zhou's side.
周先生，要不您先这个调试一下设备啊。
Or maybe we can get back to Mr. Zhou later.
李文先生，您在吗？
Mr. Li Wen, the next speaker, are you there?
在的，听得到吗
Yes.
可以看到您，对，您这里是 OK 的啊。那要不我们的这个
Okay, we can hear you. Okay, perfect.
林先生啊，先这个
Why don't we invite Mr. Li Wen to speak first? Mr. Li Wen is the Chief Planning Officer of Live Phone Cultural Technology, so he's an expert in the tourism planning. And Mr. Zhou will be the next speaker when the technology issues has been worked out. Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak in this conference. A lot of the speakers have shared their insights on the development of cultural development. And we now have a very clear picture of how tourism has been developing now. And now I'd like to talk about a very new sector of cultural heritage or cultural heritage tourism. That is the consumption behaviors of the cultural tourism. And I'd like to share with you our practice and innovation of immersive formats of cultural tourism. First, I would like to share with you the government guidance to develop the cultural tourism. So in summary, we hope that through digitalization technologies, we can promote the development of the cultural heritage tourism. So we're not only considering the real cultural destinations or only the virtual experience for the tourists. We're trying to strike a balance between the virtual and the real space. And now we are seeing that under this national strategy, we can promote the digitization of the nation's culture and create new scenes and new platforms for the digital culture and experience-based consumption.
现在有一些噪音啊，请其他的这个参会者保持安静啊，谢谢大家啊。那好，那我们下面继续请这个李文先生。
I would like to ask the other speakers to mute themselves. So, with the background of the national strategy of revitalization of the traditional Chinese culture, we are endeavor to promote the digitalization of China's cultural heritages. So, how do we integrate the cultural industry and the tourism industry? Of course, everybody here is an expert and everybody has done some research and have some very great experience and insights on the integration between the two. But in reality, how do we do that? I think we can do a lot of the things. For example, we can develop the cultural tourism IP, the performance IP, and the museum IP. And we can also see that there are also digitalization platforms, for example, the different technologies such as the dynamic capturing technology and the ultra high definition shooting, and different technologies that can help us to make a virtual space out of the real tourist destinations. Through these digital technologies, we can create an interactive platform or interactive space for the cultural industry development. And now we are also seeing that the tourist destinations are dividing into different types. So we can integrate these different types of destinations with different types of technologies. And now we are seeing an immersive experience in the cultural programs. So what do we mean by the combination between the digital technology and the culture and art? I think it's the experience. Digitalization technology has combined time and space. Digital technology can change the relationship between time and space in a real destination or a real space. For example, we can showcase the real natural sceneries. And we can also see the performance in a theater. And this kind of shows is actually a very good example of integrating space and time. So immersive experience can utilize different technologies such as virtual reality, augmented reality, and expanded reality. And I think the future trend of the immersive experience of the cultural tourism industry can be divided into three parts. The first is the decentralization of a real scenic spot. We don't want just to be a tourist in a tourist package tour. We want to have our individual experience in our travels. In the future, I think those tourists will not only flock the big scenic spots, they will try to create an immersive experience in different individual space and try to create their own experience. So this is not a one-way experience. This is not only he or she enjoying the sceneries. This is a two-way traffic or two-way connection. And with the pandemic, a lot of the people may have changed their way of traveling. For example, now we are seeing the trend of camping in the urban areas. And in the future, I think a lot of the scenic spots in China, as well as this virtual space, will provide more traveling experience or tourism experience for ordinary people. For example, there will be immersive night excursions immersive neighborhoods, immersive museums, and immersive theme parks. And talking about immersive tourism, we're seeing a new kind of businesses. This is a kind of immersive businesses that can combine art, experience, entertainment, and the social platforms. And it's also boundless. For example, you can see the landmarks of the city from the balconies. And you can also see the facade of the street and the plazas and the scenic spots in the parks, the billboards from this virtual experience. In the future, in the real streets, in the real scenic spots, we are going to create a virtual space for people to experience both virtual and real city. So this is a kind of integration. And this is what we've been working for and our new business strategy. And what we're seeing from the billboard is not only the content of an advertisement. We're using the virtual reality technologies to project all these images and create a virtual space on the billboard. And this will also create a new experience which is immersive to our ordinary people in the city. And we are also seeing this kind of experience happen in the performance, in stages, or in the theaters. For example, what you can see in this slide are some immersive programs or the immersive shows that will enable the audience to not only have one-dimensional experience, but three-dimensional experiences. And we can also see the virtual actors in the stand-up comedy, those virtual comedians. We can see what these virtual experiences are creating a series of innovative products. And we're also seeing these contents are recreated in the real space. We are seeing that in Xi'an there is a Daming Palace, which is the palace from the Tang Dynasty, that was recreated and reconstructed in a virtual space. The palace was recreated, and in this palace there are some virtual performances and virtual shows to recreate what happened 1,000 years ago. And third, we are seeing the Suitang Luoyang city spot. They are eyeing on the young tourists, the tourists from the younger generations, because they like the murder, mystery murder games. So they're creating this cultural heritage into a big space for the mystery murder game. Another case study I would like to show you is the digital art exhibitions. So we're doing reconstruction of the cultural heritage sites as well as the virtual museums. During the pandemic, we are not able to go to these real museums. But how do we convey the cultural messages from different cultures to our audience? We can use the technology to do that. And this has created a new business model. For example, this is the Paris Museum. This is dubbed as the Museum of the Future. They are doing a mixed reality exhibition because one question we are asking is, if is virtual museum enough? We don't have to go to a real museum, but this museum is doing a virtual reality or a mixed reality museum to bringing back the 6 animals that have been extinct to a real space of the museum, and people can go to that museum to see these animals who has been extinct, and also they will have a experience of the mixed reality. And also, this is the Dubai Future Museum, which was named the most beautiful museum in the world by the National Geographic magazine. This exhibition actually shows people our imagination for 2071. So we are seeing that in the outer space exploration area, the visitors can experience the manned spaceship through simulators and experience the life of the astronauts on the space station through a series of advanced technologies, such as virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and interactive devices. And we are also seeing interactive performances, just like what I have been mentioning. For example, in Mao Tai, we are seeing this kind of performance, which was designed by us, and we have been working with the local development and different companies. Everybody knows the status of Mao Tai, which is a very famous and typical Chinese liquor. And so the city of Mao Tai, or the town of Mao Tai, is actually very famous for the brand of this kind of Chinese liquor. And we would like to take the opportunity of this kind of fame to convey the message and show people how this town has 1,000 years of history of making the Chinese liquor or the Chinese wine. And now you can see that in a span of 75 minutes, we use different technologies and we use different ways, such as the sound, light, digital technology, and the projection technologies to tell people a legendary story based on Chinese liquor. So it's actually a 360-degree immersive experience. And the next is 遇见大庸, which is based on a very famous cultural heritage or tourist destination, which is Zhangjiajie in Hunan. And through this kind of performance, the tourists will get a very good idea of what the culture of Hunan is and how this culture has spanned 4,000 years. And so this is actually a very good way of telling the Chinese story. So this is actually an immersive performance in a theme park to tell a story with the background that dates back to 500 years and how people sacrifice themselves for the country. And in this performance, we have integrated the scenic spot or the sceneries of Zhangjiajie with the beautiful story. They actually, the audience actually are not sitting in the seat. They are actually walking around. So they're actually experiencing this story in a real space. And they're experiencing Asian story in a modern space. So this will be a very intriguing performance. And you can also see that there are 9 live events we have been organizing. So we can use the originally existed space to create an immersive experience. I would like to share with you the 2 projects we have been working on. First is in Suzhou, and which it's called the Zhuozhen Wenya. This is a immersive experience in the Zhuozhen Garden, which is one of the most famous Asian garden in China. It's very famous for its water, for its trees, and also famous for its plants. And this immersive experience happened during the night because we're using the light during the night to create an immersive experience. At night, when the tourists enter this garden, they will have a very different experience from what they saw during the day. You can see that they're not only seeing this beautiful sceneries, but they're also experiencing the traditional Chinese culture, including the painting, the calligraphy, and the traditional performances. And this is the Huangshan city. Everybody knows that the Yellow Mountain is one of the most beautiful mountains in China. We have created this 2-hour immersive experience in the caves. The cave actually have 4 areas and zones. So the theme of this experience is to explore the mystery of this cave, because this is a very big cave and it has very different stones. So we use it as the stage, and we use different technologies. And we have the NPC actors to help them to explore the role play. So the tourists can pick up a very interesting role and experience the story in this cave with our program and with our project. So in sum, actually we have 4 strategies to empower the immersive businesses in the cultural tourism industry. The first is immersive experience system. The second is the technology innovation system. And the third is utilizing or developing the IP. And the third is the all-domain digital platform. We hope that these IPs is not stationary. We hope that we can develop those IPs, and through the evolution of these IPs, we can develop new programs and projects and new immersive experience based on the original IP. But this is not only an online platform. We would like to apply the immersive experience in a real space. Since the time is limited, I'm not able to share all of the project we've been working on, but thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing with us these new ideas about immersive formats of cultural tourism. Now let's go back to Mr. Zhou, General Manager of Guangdong Mobile Big Data Application Innovation Center. Hi, this is Zhou speaking. Can you hear me? Yes, very clearly. Can you share your PPT slides with us? Can you see my slide? Yes, no problem. So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear delegates from Europe and Canada, dear delegates online and offline, hello. My name is Zhou Guoli. I'm the General Manager of Guangdong Mobile Big Data Application Innovation Center. I'm so happy to hear so many key presentations. And now I would like to share with you from the perspective from big data. I apologize for the technical difficulty. I don't know how come you cannot hear me just now. Just now I used 4G network. And now I changed to 5G network. So I'm even more confident of the 5G technology of China Mobile. Anyway, there are 3 parts in my presentation. First, I would like to give you a very brief introduction of big data of China Mobile. Second of all, we would like to share with you a survey that we have been conducting of using big data to know more about tourism. I'm sorry, we cannot hear you. Are you still there? Are you still there, Mr. Zhou? Mr. Zhou, it seems that your 5G network is not working. We cannot hear you at all. I'm sorry, Mr. Zhou, are you still there? We can still see your PPT slides, but we cannot hear your voice. I'm sorry, are you still there? I know that you're moving your mouse on your computer, but we cannot hear your voice. So perhaps you cannot use 5G technology very well. But that happens. We understand that you are going through some technical difficulty. The city of Guangzhou is having a lot of great challenge about COVID. So the telecommunication services may not be as good as usual. Sorry, we cannot hear you. Do we have better solution other than waiting for Mr. Zhou to be back? What about this? We have to do something else. I know, Mr. Zhou, you try your best to use your computer. Oh, I can see from the chat box that some of you suggest that you turn off your camera and you only use your microphone. So, and is it also possible for you to stop sharing your slides? So I can see that you have stopped sharing your slides, but sorry, we cannot hear you at this moment. Sorry, still cannot hear you.
有人说分享桌面不影响啊，但是现在最重要的是声音我们没有办法听到啊。
So let's wait for some technical support.
我们这个可能这个周总要重新这个启动一下，或者是重新进入。
I suggest that Mr. Zhou, you can restart your computer, and we have to move on to the next part. We're going to have a discussion with all the panel who are joining us. We have Mr. Ding from Westin Hotel. We also have Mr. Li from Li Feng Operation Company. And we also have two teachers from the School of Tourism in Guangzhou University. So we also would like to know how the university can train the students to get used to this new shifting industry of tourism. Because just now we heard what Mr. Ding and Mr. Zhou told us. So I have a questions for the two teachers from Guangzhou University. Oh, maybe I ask Mr. Ding first. Mr. Ding, are you still there? Are you still there? Mr. Ding? Yes, I'm here. I'm still here. Thank you. Well, I have a question for you. We know that your hotel, Westin and Marriott, have been working with Guangzhou University for a long time. And now we are suffering from COVID-19. Is there any new demand for talent? Or are there new opportunities for the college graduates? Do you raise the standard for the newcomer? Well, thank you. Let me answer your first question. The new demand and also new opportunities for the students. If you recall, in my presentation, I mentioned one important change, which is staycation. So many people prefer staycation in luxury hotels and good hotels. So like our hotels, it is located in the business center of Guangzhou. It's in the central part of Guangzhou. So we began to renovate some of the facilities in the year 2013. We got some rooms dedicated for families and younger children, and they were very popular. So back in the year 2013, we were one of the earliest hotels to provide children facilities and even children and family room. So during weekend, many families booked our hotel rooms, and the children enjoy the facilities in the hotel very much. And now we also provide more toys, some picture books, and also some towels, blankets, toothbrush, and everything for the younger kids. Even though we used to be a business hotel because we're located in the business center of Guangzhou, we still want to cater to the needs of the families. And moreover, in our restaurants, we offer some family activities every weekend. So our colleagues will show the 5-year-old or the 6-year-old how we work in the hotel. We also teach the children how to use the fire extinguishers. We also teach them more about staying safe. So those are some of the business opportunities. As for our cooperation with the universities, just now you asked me in Guangzhou University. In fact, we have been working together for 7 years. 7 years. We even have a class called Marriott class in the School of Tourism in Guangzhou University. So the graduate from the Marriott class will actually get a job in Marriott hotels. So I believe after we hire them, we will offer them a lot of trainings. And we also ask our colleagues to go to Guangzhou University to provide courses to the sophomores or the junior students. And we also invite the senior students to our hotels to work as apprentices. So they may spend 6 months in our hotels working as apprentice. They may work in different departments like the HR department, the financial departments, the room services departments. So the students can try working in different departments. Great, excellent. Thank you, Mr. Dean. I'm so happy that you give us wonderful answers to the 2 questions. So I would also like to ask you about the same question of students' business opportunities. I would like to ask the same question to our teachers. Like Professor Liu, you have been working in the apprenticeship of the students. You work in many conventions and conference centers. And now we have COVID. How do you think the students will do to adapt to the new environments of the tourism industry? Any new opportunities for the students? Well, first, I would like to thank Mr. Ding of Western Hotel for sharing with us their cooperation with our university. And now I would like to talk about the convention industry. Well, there are 2 inferences. First of all, there are more risks for us to hold any events, any meetings, conference, conventions, exhibitions. They will be rescheduled according to the policy of COVID. So the organizers will be very hesitated. Now, in November, it should be the prime season of many conventions and conferences. However, due to COVID, all those events have been postponed. And there are other uncertainties in the organization of those meetings and conferences. So the exhibition companies do not have any final say to decide whether they can hold a conference or not. For example, in the mid of November, there should be a car show in Guangzhou. However, due to COVID, the car show has been cancelled. So that is another example, a bad example for the convention and exhibition industry. And many keynote presenters mentioned digital technology. Now we have seen a lot of shows online, and many big conferences and big exhibitions have been held online, such as Canton Fair. Since the year 2020, Canton Fair have been held online for over 2 years. It was a biannual event. So we need to work harder with the mobile technology companies to provide more digital solution to those exhibitions and conferences. And we also need to train the students in the same way. They need to know how to use those digital technology. So I believe that in the future, we need to work together with the mobile company as well as the conference and exhibition company. We wish that we can be more innovative, we can be more forward-looking, so we can be better prepared. Now, due to COVID, we have to provide online apprenticeship to the students, not offline, just online. That is all. Thank you very much, Professor Liu, for sharing your idea with us. Just now you mentioned the students who are going to work in the convention industry has to be prepared for all those digital evolution due to COVID. All right, So we also have Mr. Lee, who talked a lot about immersive cultural tourism. And we are very interested indeed. So Mr. Lee, I have a question for you. So can you tell us how can we conduct cooperation between university and company so that the students can have better capacity to deal with innovation and digitalization? Okay, so in fact, our company is one of the training organization for students to learn more about digitalization. And so far, we have been working with many colleges and universities in this regard. And we will also emphasize that the students can work in different projects in our company, especially the immersive cultural projects of tourism. For example, in our company, we have been developing all kinds of technologies. However, the students who are majoring in tourism do not know how to use those technology, while those who learn technology, the technicians, the engineers, they don't know anything about tourism. So what we need is to have intercultural communication and intercultural training. Like now we have a lot of laboratories to do this kind of interdisciplinary training, like metaverse class, like cloud class, like dynamic tourism class. So we would like the students from different backgrounds to learn the same thing about like metaverse, about digital tourism, and etc. Moreover, not only the students, but the teachers at the School of Tourism or Hospitality, the teachers also need to keep learning. They need to keep themselves updated. They need to learn all kinds of new digital technology so that they can teach their own students. So that is what our company is doing. And I would like to offer you 3 pieces of advice. First of all, the students need to broaden their horizon. They need to learn something out of their majors. If you're only majoring in tourism, you also need to learn other disciplines like technology. Second of all, students need to have an awareness of branding. We need to set a brand for different cultural projects. We cannot simply work on from project to project. Instead, we need to establish our brand. And we also need to take the tourists into our perspective. We need to understand what they need so that we can cater to their needs. In my presentation, I show you a lot of examples. They are the examples to understand and meet the needs of the younger tourists, because you need to come up with a new business model to tap into these new markets with younger tourists. So I also talk about decentralized approach, which means we need to use more app, more mobile devices to let the tourists to enjoy their tours digitally. We also hope that we can let the students to be more creative, because only creativity can lead us to a better future together. And that could lead us to more business opportunities. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Lee. So I agree with you that for the students, they need to learn more. We also need to make sure technology should not be some obstacle for us. Instead, technology should assist us. Next question is for Professor Zheng. Just now in your presentation, you also talk a lot about digitalization and technology in tourism. So the same question for you. What do you think the students can do? Because I know you have been teaching different courses to the students majoring in tourism. Can you share with us your ideas? like the students who are majoring in tourism, what can they do? Well, first of all, I learned a lot from the presentations and the speeches of the previous speakers. In fact, I keep asking myself the same question. What can the students do when there are so many new business opportunities? And what can they do with COVID-19? So I believe that we may get some answers from digitalization. And digitalization can also raise different requirements for the students. But now most of the students belongs to the Z generations. They have new demands. They're totally different from the previous generations of students, which means they can display their creativity, their innovation. Now you have seen many students joining many competitions of entrepreneurship. Some of our students are the top winners in some national competition or even international competitions. So I suggest that we need to strengthen our cooperation with many companies so that we can help the students to better display their talents. They can display what they are good at. They can get more partners. They can get a platform to showcase their creativity. You know, students are different from teachers like us. They were born in the era of the internet, so they know more than us. They can shake off the barriers of the physical objects. Instead, they learn more from the internet. So I believe they can come up with some new business model, some new ideas of digital tourism. So what we need to do is to have more apprenticeship or training programs with the companies of tourism. We can provide tailor-made service to the companies. Just now, some speakers also mentioned interdisciplinary learning. I agree. And we always encourage the students to learn more than the textbooks. In the past, we may ask them to learn about economy, ask them to learn something about finance. But now we ask them to learn more than that. We ask them to learn about AI. They need to learn about VR. They need to learn about cloud computing. So the students need to learn more. They don't have to learn a lot of fundamental or professional knowledge. Instead, they should get some basic understanding of all those technologies, and they need to have the awareness of these new developments. So if they can catch these business opportunities, if they can learn more disciplinary knowledge, I'm sure they can come up with better design. They can showcase the Chinese culture through different tourist projects. They can design better products. I'm sure those products could be more sustainable. So I also agree that we really need interdisciplinary learning. We need to teach the students about technology, about different kind of subjects. That's important. Sorry, it seems that we have lost Professor Zheng. Professor Zheng, are you still there with us? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm back. So that's all for me. Okay, thank you, Professor Zheng. Thank you very much. I also agree with you that at university, we should encourage the students to learn more than tourism. We need them to learn more about culture, need them to learn more about technology. Thank you. So now, let me ask the last speaker, Mr. Zhou from China Mobile. Are you there? Oh, yes, you are there. I'm sorry you may miss our panel discussion because you cannot reach us. You know, we're actually getting out of time. So can you be a little bit concise? I know you would like to share the big data center of China Mobile in tourism. So can you try to be a little bit shorter than our plan? Okay, I'll try to make my speech within 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to spend the next 5 minutes to briefly share our special application of big data and cultural tourism statistics. Actually, we've been working with Guangzhou University on a lot of fronts, and our programs has been online and offline, and our big data has been applied on the digital services provided for the tourists when they are traveling in different destinations. And we also have used our big data to serve the tourism providers to better help them to develop their industry. And we know that now digital technology is being used on a lot of technologies. We've been seeing the emergence of metaverse and VR, AR technologies. So we're not able to use only one technology. Everyone needs to contribute their expertise in every new in every new program now we are working on. And now the tourism industry is not only divided into the outbound tourism or long distance tourism. Now we are seeing more people are actually interested in the more short distance tourist destinations. So we need to have new thoughts to develop tourism. And just now, I heard a speaker talked about how the revitalization of the rural areas can be integrated into the tourism industry. I think this is actually a new strategy in the pandemic era. Now, I know that China is developing the tourism destinations in Guangxi, Hunan, and different places to the seashore destinations. So this kind of seashore travel or the tourism in the destinations is becoming very popular. And also we are developing the local tourists or the local people to enjoy the local tourist destinations. So we're encouraging the local people to travel to the local scenic spots. So in our talent programs, we should also pay attention to that. In Guangzhou, we have Beijing Road. We also have other scenic spots that can be tourist attractions to the local people. And we are also seeing programs that have been turning into theaters at nighttime. And in the seashore cities, we're seeing the nightlife events organized there to enjoy the seafood and enjoy some beverage. So the original tourist talents working in the tourist destinations in the hotel industry and in the other catering industries need to change themselves and transform their former practices in order to cater for this kind of new popularity. And we are seeing that in Macau, there has been a decline in the tourists because of the pandemic. And we're seeing a lot of the Cantonese tourists now are not going to places like Hong Kong and Macau. And now these tourists actually need to find new tourist destinations. So our big data center is working on how these people have been changing their tourist destinations and been traveling to other places. So we are monitoring short distance travels, such as travels within 200 kilometers. And we need to develop the talent programs specifically targeting this kind of travels. We also need to develop our academic programs specifically focusing on the development of the cultural products. And so here, actually, we're seeing new opportunities. And I've been listening to the previous speakers, and I really appreciate the opportunity to listen to your insights and sharing my opinions with you. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for very useful insights. We know that a very good presentation was not able to show here, and we were really sorry for that. But thank you very much for your insight, and thank you very much for your suggestions for our academic programs. And I think providing big data services to guide the development of the tourism industry is very important. And the roundtable session has been going on for more than 1 hour. And today we are seeing a very precious opportunity when we invite the people from the industry and the people from the academic research to jointly discuss the innovative development of the tourism industry. I think this is a very precious opportunity and a very good learning opportunity for us. And I think a lot of insights has been sharing. It's already late night in China, but still a lot of people are listening to the discussions. And that shows people's interest and enthusiasm to the development of the cultural tourism industry in China. And with that, on that note, I'd like to declare the closing of the roundtable section. Now, I'd like to
那么下面呢，就进行是我们本次分论坛的最后一项环节，就是会议的总结环节。那么我们再次有请。
Now I would like to move on to the conclusion part. Now I'd like to invite Professor Tang Xuan, the director of the Foreign Affairs Office of Guangzhou University, to give the conclusion remarks of this session.
I can guess it's more than 2 hours. All good things come to an end. So as we complete the roundtable section, we are approaching to the end of the whole concurrent section. And we are running on the last agenda, which is conclusion. It is my honor and pleasure to invite Professor Tang Xuan, Director of International Affairs Office of Guangzhou University, to make and summarize today's section and give us conclusion. Welcome, Professor Tang.
各位代表、各位嘉宾、女士们、先生们、朋友们，不知不觉我们的会议已经进行了3个多小时，现在已经是北京时间晚上10点20多分。那么学术研讨的气氛依然热烈饱满，大家均意犹未尽。在本场活动进入尾声之际，那我仅代表广州大学、广州国际邮政大学联盟秘书处感谢线上线下与会的各位领导、嘉宾，感谢各位发言的学者和参与互动讨论的业界精英，感谢大家克服疫情参加线上会议，也感谢大家通过各自的精湛研究 和业界实践，为线上线下超过200多名观众奉上一场学术盛宴。感谢来自广州国际有成大学联盟、成员大学的师生线上参与。我们要特别感谢葡萄牙主会场的组委会成员和工作人员提供的支持和协助，使得欧洲和世界其他区域的同行们能够了解和分享中国的实践和经验。志合者不以山海为远，大家的热情参与和积极互动再次证明了此次创意旅游振兴发展与旅游目的地韧性为主题的国际会议，以及后疫情时代旅游振兴和的中国探索和实践分论坛举办的现实意义和业界的影响力。当今世界100年未有之大变局与世界疫情交织，经济全球化遭遇逆袭，世界经济复苏需要文旅产业提供足够的支撑，文旅产业振兴需要高校提供智力支持，高校的人才培养需要结合业界的实际需求，三者紧密相连，缺一不可。相信今天的分论坛的成果可以为政策的制定者、学术研究者以及行业实践者提供多元性和多样性的参考和借鉴，也能为世界文旅产业和业界携手砥砺前行提供驱动力。交得其道，千里同好。此次会议的思路发端于2021年广州国际有成大学联盟年会上由联盟秘书处发起的动议，经与会代表一致同意，经葡萄牙科英布拉大学、加拿大蒙特利尔魁北克大学、广州大学等成员大学的学者的热心推动及其推进后实现的。联盟秘书处为活动提供了包括经费、人力资源在内的支持。整个活动的成功举办，再次证明了联盟这个包含来自15个国家、17个友好城市的18所大学的大家庭的凝聚力和执行力。广州国际有成大学联盟将继续贯彻自愿、平等、协作、分享、互利的理念，致力于打造有成大学携手推进城市发展的国际合作范例，持续推进国际间人文交流的建设平台，为构建人类命运体做出更大的贡献。最后，我宣布2022年创意旅游振兴发展与旅游目的地韧性国际会议后疫情时代旅游振兴的中国探索和实践分论坛活动到此结束。祝大家身体健康，工作顺利，谢谢。结束。
谢谢各位嘉宾啊，谢谢大家。